In the labyrinth of Port Charles, vengeance often wears the mask of reason, and innocence is just one more illusion waiting to be shattered. For months now, Willow has walked a razor's edge between grief, resentment, and obsession, her once serene image dissolving into the same chaos that once consumed her twin, Nellie. But unlike Nellie, whose rage was loud and erratic, Willow's descent is quiet and calculated, masked behind her tragic smile and whispered victimhood. The latest chapter in this spiraling tale reveals Willow's most terrifying transformation yet, from wounded mother to master manipulator, using deception, emotional warfare, and psychological torment in a campaign to destroy Sasha and reclaim what she believes is hers, her children, her legacy, her control. It all begins with a fracture. Willow, after losing custody of Wiley and Amelia, became obsessed with what she viewed as betrayal by those she once loved. Sasha, who had once shared the pain of motherhood and loss with her, was now a bitter reminder of what Willow could no longer touch. And Michael, the man she had once sacrificed everything for, now seemed to protect Sasha and her newborn Daisy with unwavering devotion. In Willow's mind, their alliance wasn't just unfair, it was treacherous. She came to believe that they had stolen her place in the family, her role as mother, and her identity as a Corinthos. That seed of resentment festered, and eventually bloomed into a full-blown vendetta. At first, her revenge was subtle, small moments designed to sow doubt. She would appear unexpectedly outside Sasha's apartment, only to act as if it were coincidence. She began spreading quiet rumors about Sasha's ability to care for Daisy, implying postpartum instability. She planted harmless-looking messages and gifts that only Sasha would understand as threats. Photographs, dolls, and nursery items subtly arranged to mimic Daisy's bedroom. But it wasn't enough. Sasha didn't break. She grew more protective of Daisy, more open with Michael, more determined to protect her newfound peace. Willow escalated. She began watching Sasha's movements, following her from GH to her home, even planting herself near Daisy's daycare to check in. When Sasha confronted her, Willow wept, playing the role of the grieving, misunderstood mother who only wanted to be part of the children's lives. Sasha, still battling the ghosts of her past, hesitated. But Michael didn't. He warned Willow to stay away. That only made things worse. Willow's next step was more daring. One afternoon, Sasha returned home to find Daisy missing. Her heart stopped. She searched everywhere, called the police, called Michael. Hours later, a nurse from General Hospital contacted them. Daisy had been dropped off, unharmed, but under a false name. Security footage was blurry. Sasha's explanation, that Willow had taken Daisy, was dismissed due to lack of evidence. The police suggested Sasha may have misplaced her or confused events due to stress. Michael was torn. Sasha had a history of mental health struggles, and this incident, while deeply suspicious, didn't leave proof. That's when Willow struck the hardest. She planted signs of mental instability around Sasha's apartment, pills that Sasha didn't remember filling, scribbled notes in Sasha's own handwriting left on mirrors, audio recordings of Daisy crying played on repeat through a hidden baby monitor even when Daisy wasn't home. These weren't just pranks, they were psychological warfare. Willow's goal wasn't to hurt Sasha physically. It was to destabilize her to the point where everyone, even Sasha herself, questioned her sanity. Michael began to waver. He loved Sasha and didn't want to believe she was unraveling, but the mounting incidents were hard to ignore. He urged Sasha to see a specialist, just to rule things out. Sasha refused. Willow, seeing an opportunity, turned to Nina. Playing the dutiful daughter figure, she poured her version of the story into Nina's ear, how Sasha had been acting erratically, how she feared for Daisy, how the only way to help was to intervene before something tragic happened. Nina, still carrying guilt for her past with Nellie and her failure to protect Willow, agreed. She joined Michael in pressing Sasha to voluntarily commit herself for evaluation. Cornered, heartbroken, and unsure of what was real anymore, Sasha relented. She checked herself into Ferncliff for a brief observation, hoping to prove she was well and return to her daughter. But once inside, the narrative shifted swiftly against her. The psychiatrist. convinced by carefully manipulated records and interviews, extended her stay. Her medications were adjusted. Her mental state, once stable, began to fray under the fluorescent lights and enforced isolation. That's when Willow made her final move. She visited Sasha under the guise of offering comfort. But her words were knives wrapped in silk. She told Sasha everything. That she had moved Daisy to GH herself, that she had altered records, gaslit her, pushed her into the very breakdown she now inhabited. With a dead-eyed calm, Willow declared that this was retribution. Not just for losing Wiley and Amelia, but for ever daring to think she could replace Willow as the mother figure in the Corinthos legacy. She leaned in close and whispered that Sasha would never see Daisy again, not while Willow lived and breathed. Sasha screamed. Nurses rushed in. The doctors noted her hallucinations, her paranoia, her violent reaction. Her stay was extended indefinitely. Outside Ferncliff, Willow played the grieving victim again, quietly asking for forgiveness from the universe, appearing at GH in modest clothes, speaking softly about mental health awareness and her prayers for Sasha's recovery. Michael remained silent, ashamed but unsure. Nina, though shaken, continued to support Willow's actions. The web was tight, the lie immaculate. But nothing stays buried in Port Charles for long. A nurse at GH, disturbed by the discrepancies in Daisy's daycare pickups and Willow's presence near pediatric wings, began raising quiet concerns. Dante, already suspicious of the case's inconsistencies, reopened his files. A security guard at GH remembered seeing Willow with Daisy at an odd hour the day the child went missing. And someone, perhaps a hacker, perhaps an unexpected ally, unearthed a deleted file from a baby monitor app, revealing one of Willow's gaslighting recordings. The tide is turning. The same darkness that once consumed Nellie now seems to pulse beneath Willow's polished exterior. But where Nellie's vengeance was overt, Willow's is methodical, precise, and chilling in its clarity. She doesn't rage, she smiles. She doesn't scream, she whispers. Now the question isn't just whether Sasha will escape Ferncliff, but whether the Corinthos family will ever recognize the monster in their midst before it's too late. And if they do, will Willow self-destruct like Nellie, or will she evolve into something even more dangerous, a master manipulator who wears tragedy like a crown? As Port Charles braces for another storm, one truth looms large: in the war for motherhood, for legacy, for vengeance, there are no saints. Only survivors. And sometimes, survival comes at the cost of someone else's soul.